Hi, I'm Katie. I'm a love and life coach, and I will be on the next episode of Milk, Eggs, and a Whole Lot of Tea.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Milk, Eggs.
And a Whole Lot of Tea.
My name is Brandon.
And I'm Allegra, and thank you for joining us. All right, B,
Yes.
So where have you been? What's been going on?
Girl, I have been in Mexico, all this good stuff. I went to Texas, visited family, all this fun stuff. But listen, enough about me. I'm ready to get to our guest today.
Absolutely.
But hold on, are you doing okay too? Just real
Oh,
quick.
I'm good. Let's just hop to the
Okay,
guest because I'm always
okay,
talking
perfect.
about like life, love, and breaking down barrier. Okay, so go ahead. You can
Yes,
introduce our
yes.
person.
Yes, so this wonderful woman that we have on today, her name is Katie. She comes to us all the way across from the pond. She is a love and life coach, y'all. She is here to just spill and give us some just good tea about herself, what she's done, and hopefully help a couple of people in our audience really strive and become better people. So are you guys ready to give a warm welcome to our guest, Miss Katie?
Hello. Lovely to be here.
Yes,
No.
lovely to have you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, Katie, let's just go ahead and we're going to dive into it.
Okay, great.
So, what inspired you to become a love and life coach, and what fuels your passion for helping women break through barriers to find love?
Yeah. Well, I guess I was driven by a desire to help other people who are in a similar position to I was 10 years ago. And it's those people who kind of have that feeling of, I should be somewhere in life. I should be following the societal norms, or they feel like they're walking a different path to other people. Because I know myself what that's like. And that is my driving force in helping other people know that their own journey is very valid wherever they're at.
I love that because everyone's journey is every person's valuable, which I love when you said that.
Everyone's journey is different.
And everyone's journey is different, and that's amazing because we all come together like a little connection.
Exactly.
So, question for you, Katie: what was that pivotal moment in your own love journey that made you realize your calling to start helping others?
Sure. It probably goes back a little bit further, like I guess my 20s, late teens and 20s, I went through a time which was very challenging for me, especially as a young woman. I was depressed. I wasn't living a fulfilled life. And that affected many things, obviously relationships, romantic relationships and other relationships being one of that. Now, this all manifested because of the internal war that was going on with me. That internal narrative that's not so kind sometimes, the thoughts that I know we've all have at different stages, and for me, that was going on at this stage, which manifested in me not really being able to cope with life very well. And the kind of relationships was a big one for me as well. I'm in my 20s, all my friends are dating, and for me, it's just a scary place to be. I did date, but I picked up many unhealthy patterns that, to be honest, I just wanted to keep people at arm's length, but on the appearance, I wanted to be dating, I wanted to be doing what everybody else was doing. And as time went on, I knew that something within me needed to change, because if nothing changes, I could kind of see the path of my life where it was going, and it wasn't where I wanted it to be. And I really had a bit of a shakeup, it was around my 30th birthday. And that's when I started immersing myself in different modalities to overcome the way I was living and to move into a much more fulfilled way of being and living. And that was, I immersed myself in yoga. So there was both body and mind modalities that I used to heal. I did therapy for a long time. Then later on, I practiced NLP. There was so much that I went into to work out what was going on for me. And that was the big turning point for me. And it was ever since then that I wanted to work with people. And then later, it kind of moved into the love side of it, because I could see my own journey and then how I was able to help others, where my beliefs about men and relationships were the very things that were keeping me from the thing, when you say, oh, I would love to be in a relationship, I'd love a partner, but yet I was so conflicted of what was going on internally. So that was the big turning point. If I've answered the question there, that was a big kind of turning point for me, and kind of how my direction changed.
So what I hear you say, excuse me, it all starts with you.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yes.
So can you, let's talk a little bit about, if you want to transform your life,
Yeah.
what are some 5 healthy habits that anyone can do that starts with you?
I guess a lot of it, because some of the times we're so outwardly focused. I heard this lovely saying before, that it was like, imagine on the day you were born, that you were told that you're given a human that you have to look after. And that human is obviously us. So if we think about it in that terms and nearly take ourselves out of the equation, it's about first getting to know who you are, what you want, that authentic self. It's really hard to do sometimes because we're so focused outwards. It's about becoming aware of who we are and what we do. You may know this, but we are on autopilot. I don't have the exact percentage, but I know it's in the high 80s probably, or 80% of the day we're on autopilot. We think the same thoughts that we did yesterday, last week, last year. We do the same things. So it's really about getting in tune, because if we're thinking the same way and it's not a really great way, then we know the outcome of our life. And for anything to change, we have to start changing somewhere. But I would say, the word self-care and self-love can be, people are like, oh, what does that mean? I guess it's really just about being kind to yourself and taking care of yourself. And that's from how we speak to ourselves as well. Because if you change the way you think, you'll change your life.
If you change the way you think, you will change your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't
Yes,
know
you're
if I
so
get
right.
5 exact steps there, sorry, Allegra, but hopefully there's some points in there that kind of is
Change
the
the way you
meaning
think,
of
will
where I
change
was
your
getting
life.
to.
You took us to church, so we're good, okay? Yeah. But no, that's awesome. It is. It's about loving yourself. And let's kind of like pivot to where, breaking free from old patterns when we're
Yep.
talking about stuff like that. So let's get a little deep for a second.
Yeah.
But what are some subtle signs that someone who is stuck in a love pattern that no longer serves them anymore, like what's the first kind of small step in breaking free and chipping away?
So I guess the first is the person is becoming aware that something's not working. And what I see a lot of my clients with is a big one would be that they're attracting the same type of person, but it's just a different relationship. So, everything looks the same, though it's the person's just different. They just keep moving in and out the person, or they've been single for a long time, and they don't know what to do with that. And I guess, so the first thing in breaking an old pattern is that being aware of it. 2 is about knowing what it is that you do want. So a lot of the time, an unhealthy pattern will appear or will be evident because of a belief, perhaps, of I'm not lovable, or love only comes to me if I give something in return, or a lot of it, when you break it down, will be something that we believe about ourselves, because that is then reflected in the relationship. So we're to go then a step under that. You don't have to kind of go to therapy for 10 years about this, by no means, but it's just about understanding what that is so that you can work to change it. And obviously there's a process about going and doing that when you do it in a coaching session. But I'd say one big shift happened for me, and this is something that maybe your listeners can, it's something that can appeal to more people than obviously on the individual basis, but a lot of the times unhealthy patterns happen because we're making decisions based off of the past and things that have happened in the past for us. the
Mhm.
hurt,
Yeah.
the whatever that might be. And it's a wonderful thing when you start looking to the future that you want, and start making decisions based off of that.
Katie,
Yeah, I know, girl. That
say that again.
is
That was wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So, Katie, one thing, well, not
Yes.
one thing. So, do you see what's one thing that you see that people commonly like hold on to that keeps them stuck in unhealthy relationships?
mm,
So what is the well, it's like those that I was saying. It's usually something that they don't believe they're lovable, or
I just want you to repeat it for myself.
yeah, or I'm not good enough, or they model a relationship because that's what
Mm,
they know, So
mm,
if you've come from a relationship that might be, if your parents or your caregivers, sometimes
mhm,
people model that. So there's a number of nuances of why it comes to that. It's just about
mhm,
understanding that. And a lot of the time, we carry a thought or belief and act upon it, and actually, when you look back, it was never true in the first place. Such
mm,
as a child believing they are unlovable and then live
yeah.
their life based out of that thought, right? And they go on living and, life that way. Now, there's no judgment. We all, nobody teaches this. We all do this. We're only human. But the thing is,
mhm,
when you actually break it down, and when the person actually realizes that if we cut them open, there's nothing inside that says they're unlovable. It's not part of who they are. It's something they've taken on
Mhm.
throughout life, like a program,
Yeah.
it's software programs we take on and we run our life by. But actually, you go and you sit somebody down and you're actually, is that true? And 100% of the time, the answer is no. It's not a true statement or
mm,
true belief or thought that you're living off of.
Mhm.
mm.
So it's stuff we've been told, stuff
Yeah.
we've
Yes,
seen, and it's
exactly.
Yep.
yeah, oh, ca- oh, you're
Used to
giving
be
me
like, "Mama."
chills. You're
Yes,
just giving me
everywhere.
yes, because it's so sad though. Because people, I'm a victim of that too.
Yeah.
Not seeing growing up with healthy parents and
Mhm,
things like that, and not seeing that healthy relationship, and being now in a relationship of 7+ years, like changing that mindset,
Yeah.
knowing that I'm worthy, that,
yeah.
I can be loved and things like that. So like
Mm.
hearing you say it, it's almost like a vindication or so, or like a
Mhm,
confirmation, just saying, hey,
mhm,
you are this though.
mhm,
Yeah,
And you don't have to be what you were growing up, or
mhm,
thinking the same way you were
mhm.
growing up, because
exactly.
thank you for that.
Yeah.
As
We're
someone
all
who has
pure,
been through that.
loving beings,
Yes.
Mhm.
and
Yes.
we just take so much of the world on
Yeah.
that other people give us as well, which is so
Mhm.
hard.
Return to
Yes.
sender.
Yes.
We don't need return return to sender.
Darn it.
Doesn't feel nope. Take it back. Hmm. Okay.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so what is, if you could give us some good advice for someone who
Yeah.
feels stuck, and isn't sure how to invite love into their life in new and exciting ways, what is some advice you would give that person?
Okay. Okay. Stuck is a funny one, isn't it? We all say I'm stuck, and it's like I feel stuck, but it's not really feeling. It's usually like that, a byproduct of what's
Oh.
going on up here, you know. We can't get by something, but the thing that we can't get by is usually something from it kind of carries on nicely from our previous conversation, because we're usually holding on to a past experience or making a decision based off of the past as opposed to that future, right? So
Mm,
some of the ways to release that is releasing the old story.
Mm.
We all have our own story, and we can also rewrite our story, or start telling a new story is probably a better way of saying that. Instead of rewriting it, we can start telling
Mhm.
it in a different way. So release the old story that we keep telling ourselves, and have a clarity of what it is that you want in the future. Yeah, that
Mm.
helps shift the focus from everything of feeling I don't know what it is I want, or I don't know. Start looking to that future and gaining clarity in it. Start embodying the very thing that you want. So if we're talking about relationships here, if people feel that they're stuck and they can't get into a relationship, or they whatever that feeling or sense is, well, first of all, what do you want from a relationship, and are you being that right now without it, or are you looking for the relationship for it?
Mm.
It
Oh,
makes sense.
oh,
So
yeah. You
on a,
said,
on a
oh,
very
so,
high level, I
mhm.
want a relationship to be loved. Let's just say, take that example. Well, actually, you are love and you have love. Yes, it's wonderful to have love from a partner, but you don't need the relationship to have love
Mm.
or
Yeah.
security or whatever. There's so many words
Mhm.
that people use that they believe, when I have the relationship, I will feel safe, or I will feel loved, or I will feel like I've got
Mhm.
whatever it is. So it's first seeing what you want and start being that right now.
Mm. Because you said,
Mm.
are you, what was it? You said, are you the person? Dang, you
What
said
did I
something.
say?
Are you the relationship? Are you the relationship?
Embodying what you want,
Yes. Are you
basically. Yes.
embodying the relationship that
Yeah.
you want?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so do you feel love? You said something
Yeah.
about security.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm like, mental note.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think those are some like gentle pushes for
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
to
The thing is, we,
acknowledge.
yes, 100%. We see relationships, obviously, we see people around us, relationships. We see relationships in movies and on the TV. And we
Mhm.
think relationships is one way, or it's something that it will give us so much like validation and all these things that we think it's going to give us. But in essence, then we're
Mhm.
just chasing something. We're chasing the validation. We're chasing everything
Mhm.
else. And, don't get me wrong, I'm married. I have a partner. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing having, but it's meant to be an addition, not to give you everything that you're looking for.
An
Mm.
addition. That's what it
Mm.
is.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a
Mm.
nicer word than addition, but it just didn't come to mind now, but I'll get that. And
Well,
can I say one more on the
Yes, yes.
is
yes.
usually to get out of your comfort zone. Because if we're feeling stuck as well, because there's that wonderful saying as well, is that like everything that you're looking for is beyond that comfort zone, because otherwise you'd already have it,
Mhm.
because it would be there for you. So sometimes
Mm.
and that comfort zone doesn't necessarily mean physically going to a new place. That comfort zone can be, I find it really hard to be vulnerable with people. Maybe I'll start trying to be vulnerable, for instance, just as an example. You
Mhm.
know, that's being outside of your comfort zone. And that can start with
Mm.
friends, or it doesn't have to start with dates straight away. But whatever it is for you, it's about expanding that comfort zone.
Mm.
I love that because we're humans,
Yeah.
we're creatures of habit. We're so easily falling into our comfort zones and things. And it's
Yeah.
what you're saying, Katie, is you're not saying y'all go change tomorrow. Take
No.
baby steps. Like,
Yeah.
hey, write some stuff
Mhm.
down or whatever. Look at yourself being like, hey, do I want to change this? Do I need to look at this?
Yeah.
How
Mhm.
do I continue to improve? Um, because
Exactly.
especially with myself, I can get so easy overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, there's
Mm.
so much change. I need all
Yeah.
this. And it's not. You just take it baby steps, like
And
Yes.
get out of your head.
out
Yes.
of your head.
Mm.
Yes.
Overthink things so much, and a lot of the
Yes.
time we bring it into actually the body, and start feeling it as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah. But no, okay.
Mm.
So let's dive into your guide, Love After 35.
Yes.
What's one tool or strategy from this guide that has made the most impact on women seeking lasting love?
Yeah, sure.
Mm.
It's probably intertwined. There's probably two, and it's going to be a reoccurring theme to what I've been saying before. But there's a module in there about understanding our beliefs, because I feel, and I
Mm.
know from my own experience, that the way I thought and the things that I believed were in fact resulting in the life that I was living. Makes sense.
Mm,
Okay.
Mm.
So
mhm,
by understanding how your beliefs and your thoughts are actually affecting that is a very powerful tool to have. And a lot of us don't
Mm.
necessarily get that, or we're never told this. So that is a module that I think has really, some of the feedback that has really helped people kind of have those aha moments, or, oh my God, that kind of the light bulb going on. And then it's the connecting with ourselves, which again is because we need to, if we're entering into a relationship, you need to know who you are. Before you know even who the right partner is for you. Because if you don't know who you are or what you want, how can you decide who's going to be your partner, especially if you're looking for a life partner, who's going to be that person? So those two are probably some of the key modules where I get a lot of the feedback back.
I love that. I love that. It's really being in connection with who you are and knowing who you are as an individual before you can pour that to other people.
Exactly. And a lot of the times we try to shape and mold ourselves for a relationship, or we decide, and I know especially for women as well, we try to stay nearly quiet on certain things that we want or need for the fear that somebody's going to run off, when in actuality that's not doing anything for the relationship. By us dimming small isn't helping the relationship in any way. And all of these things do come to light, but it might be 1 year later, it might be 5 years later. So when you can connect with yourself, and you need to be brave to say these things as well. We need to take responsibility and to be brave for those things that we want as well.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Dang. Okay. So let's just say if we had 5 minutes with the guide, what is the first thing you would hope someone will take away?
I guess the first thing is a new way of looking at dating and looking at relationships, and that it's not this, sometimes we go on a date and it's like, we're all nervous perhaps when we go on a date, and it's like, will they like me? Will they choose me? And it's about shifting that way of looking at it to a different way of, I'm going to go and meet somebody that possibly is going to be a partner for me. I'm going to go and get to know them. It's not romanticizing about a person I don't know. And it's not all about it's up to them. It's also your choice. And it's what you want in a relationship. So I know my value. I know what I'm looking for in a relationship. I'm going to go and see if this person, the two of us can grow with that. And it's not, is somebody going to choose me? It's kind of taking, dating. A lot of people date that way. Will they like me? Will they choose me?
That's a mindset shift, because I feel like society. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Allegra.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, you don't want to be a pick me.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like that society has like kind of told us that a little bit, and like almost like lessened our confidence in dating, and then in ourselves. And then when it's like, it's, oh, will they pick me? No, I'm here too, because it takes 50% or, half and half to make a relationship work. Girl, you speaking today, Katie. Come on.
So that's what I hope people
like a rom-com.
take from it, is they are coming in and they'd probably come in with a lesser sense of confidence about dating and relationships, or an unknown, and that they'll go back, into the world. This is all work that they do themselves. This isn't me coaching them one-on-one. This is work they do on themselves if they have the guide. So it's about having the tools to get you where you need to be, that you can all do by yourself.
All right, Katie. So you've been dropping a lot of nuggets for us this morning, or this afternoon for you.
Yeah.
So for anyone that's ready to take the first step in their love journey, where can they find your digital guide and connect with you for mentoring or coaching? Yeah,
sure. I think my Instagram is probably the best place to start, and then you can find all links from there. So on Instagram, I am Kate, which I'm sure will be provided. I am Katie Byrne, and it's Love After 35. So that is the best place to find me, and then you will see my guide and my mentorship, and that's the best place to catch me.
And all the ladies, everybody out there who wants to transform their love life, start with Katie's book.
That's it.
Come on, come talk to Katie, and everything's linked all in our socials, which you all know about already.
Well,
That's awesome.
You
No worries.
you
Anytime.
dropped some stuff
What?
for me to think about. Like,
Oh, hopefully, hopefully.
so I'll get rid of my list of what's on there. I guess I don't know.
No, it's
Yes.
well. What's on your list?
Oh, okay. So I used to be horrible back in the day, but now since I shifted my mindset,
Okay.
security, so
Okay.
I can offer affection, understanding, emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
and is there another one? There's one more. Affection.
Okay. Great.
Mm.
Yeah,
See,
and they're good. Like the security that I mentioned is just like it's nice. It's obviously great that, but how do you see that in somebody? And I guess this is just a question for you. How do you know what security is when you meet somebody? You know, because if you feel secure yourself, but don't
well,
get rid of
security,
it. Just look
yeah,
at that. Yeah.
mine's financially stable. Can we go to the bank? Like, let's go to the bank.
Fair enough.
Here we go to the
You emotional secure. That's what. Yep.
Allegra doesn't need no buff security. She
Oh,
got
I
whatever. She just
know.
wants that.
hilarious.
That's what it is. But
That
no.
is so
But thank
funny.
you, Katie.
No worries.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything else that you think that something our listeners should know that we did not mention?
No, I think we covered quite a lot there today. I think I know a lot of the points come back, but it kind of just reaffirming that it's. I think it goes back to that being like love will meet you where you are, and it like for people who are worried what like this saying will somebody like me, love will meet you where you are, and it will honor who you are. So once you take that and keep knowing that you don't need to change, you don't need to do anything, you're the right person for you won't ask you to change. So that's, I think, kind of the summarizing part of it.
Well, on that note,
I think you just gave us the title of this episode. Is what you just did.
well,
But
thank
no,
you. This was great.
No
yes,
Well,
worries, guys. Thank you
yes.
so much for having me. It's been wonderful.